Hello everyone, Cole here with episode 36 of Questions for Cole. It's January 20th, 2021. First off, thanks to those who sent in guesses to my extra Name That Manitoba Town question after last week's episode. You may recall that it was a picture of two little pigs indoors in what looked like a long hallway with a door at the end of it. Well, we had some good guesses. Three different people sent in the same guess, which I believe must be the correct answer, and that is Grunthal, which is pronounced Grunthal, but it kind of looks like Grunt Hall, which I guess is what you'd have if you let two pigs into your hall. So thanks for that. I appreciate that very much. I've slept much better lately not having to worry about trying to solve that elusive puzzle. Now, on to this week's question, which is, Cole, when you were in theological college, what was your favorite course that you took, and what was your least favorite? Great question. Easy, easy, easy question, because my favorite course was my favorite by far, and my least favorite course was my least favorite by far. Let's start with the bad news first. My least favorite course was Greek. I still can't believe I passed that course. I know for a fact that I did not deserve to pass that course. I was a pretty good student with pretty good grades in everything else, but Greek was just beyond me completely. And I didn't even have to take it. It was an elective, but for whatever reason I thought I would sign up for it. It would be good to have a biblical language course, so I took Greek. Big mistake. I remember nothing. I don't even remember the alphabet. Well, let's see. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta. Those are three easy ones in a row. Iota, kappa, lambda, mu, nu. I'm doing better than I thought. Something, pi. I know pi is in there somewhere. And something else. Upsilon's near the end. No, it's not coming back. Some of it, not all of it. It's gone. Omega. Omega is the last one. I remember that. I also remember that going into the final exam, I had a very poor mark, and I left that exam knowing for sure that I had not done well enough to pass the course. But somehow I got a passing grade. I'm pretty sure it was a gift either from God or from my professor, who probably just hoped that if he passed me, he would never ever see me again in any of his classes. The feeling was mutual. As the saying goes, it was all Greek to me. Ugh, still gives me the shivers just thinking about it. I know that in some of my sermons, I've said things like, that comes from the Greek word koinonia or whatever. When I say things like that, believe me, it's not because I took Greek in theological college and remember it. I have zero recollection. It's because I've done some research and I trust the scholars who actually do know the Greek language and who have devoted themselves, their careers, to learning it well. And I'm very thankful for those scholars. Anyway, that's enough about Greek. Ugh. My favorite course in theological college is a bit of a story. It wasn't a traditional classroom type of course. When I was in seminary at St. Andrew's College, it was a 4-year program to receive your Master's of Divinity. The third year out of 4 at that time was an 11-month internship in a church somewhere. Mine was in Kenora, Saskatchewan. That was a great year. But when we got back to the college for our 4th year, part of that year was what was called PILC, P-I-L-C, which stood for Post-Internship Learning Community. What that means is that all of the 4th year students got together a few afternoons a week, if my memory serves me, and we discussed everything that we'd learned on each of our internships. And in the midst of that sharing, we learned from one another and heard from our classmates about some of the things that they learned that we may not have. It was a valuable course. That was my favorite course, but there's an even more favorite part of the course that I'll explain. Now, as part of that class, we each needed to do a special project, major project, PILC major project. I remember that well. It could be anything, but it had to have something to do with filling in the gaps of our learning, focusing on what we thought we still needed to work on before we were really ready for ministry. So 4 of us in the class put our heads together and came up with a brilliant proposal. We had heard on our internships and elsewhere from so many different ministers and professors that one of the most important things to be aware of in ministry was to find a good work-life balance. There were all sorts of warnings about clergy burnout, about the dangers of being a workaholic, about not finding any time for yourself amidst the challenges of this vocation. We heard a lot about self-care, the importance of self-care. So, what could we do? The four of us in question had one thing in common. We loved music. In fact, we took every opportunity we could to sing together and jam together. We even had a special room in the basement of the college where we had set up a music studio of sorts. Dave played drums, 3 of us sang, and 2 played guitar, but we never seemed to be able to find time to work on our music. What to do, what to do? Well, long story short, we put together a proposal for our major project for our post-internship learning community class, in which we would focus on self-care by singing, playing guitar and drums, taking some time to focus on something that was good for our souls. We believed that would help us in our future ministry careers. And at the end of the year, we promised to put on a performance for the rest of the college. And believe it or not, our professor agreed. Can you imagine? So a few times a week, we would go to class by heading down to our studio and practicing our music. Bruce Cockburn, Blue Rodeo, Stan Rogers, some religious stuff too. And we had so much fun doing that. It was so much better than Greek. I can't even describe it. And that's it for this week. Thanks for the question. That brought back some wonderful memories and some awful memories. So thanks for that. Mostly wonderful. I've blocked out most of my memories of that Greek class. Don't worry. If you have a question you'd like to ask me, whether it's something about God or Jesus or the Bible or the church or something about me, something deep or something just for fun, any question at all, just send it to my email, which is cole@selkirkunitedchurch.ca, and I'll try my best to answer it. See you next week, everyone, and God bless.